everyone, I'm Michelle, and I am going to tell you a Strangerville story from long ago. You know that big, dark Victorian house up on the bluff, right? The empty one? Yeah. The old Sharps place, it's called, even though there hasn't been a Sharps there for a good 100 years, 120. Thomas Sharps came to the desert for oil, and he brought along his wife Laureline and their twin daughters Susanna and Marie. Laureline was used to money. She was used to a fine house. So when Thomas made his fortune, he built her one. And for the first 5 years, nothing really happened. Thomas ran his business and he grew richer by the day. Laureline taught the girls and indulged in her one real passion, which was painting. Sand crept in at the doorways and window panes until the sight of it meant nothing. Sand was everywhere. The desert was everywhere. And then the rocks began to sing. The girls heard it first, an unmistakable, inhuman melody that seemed to never leave the edges of their hearing. As time went on, they drew the largest rock over and over. They played at its worship with their dolls and their toys. They lit candles and sang songs while the gritty sand and dust coated their food and crunched beneath their feet. Thomas traveled constantly, so Laureline and the girls made do, not really noticing how everything began to change around them. They might notice that their tempers were short, or their sleep was never uninterrupted, how they dreamed over and over and over of the rock behind the house. The song was stronger by then, and Laureline heard it too, and nothing really mattered except the song and the desert and the sand. Thomas returned to a decaying house and a family that spent more time in the rocky backyard than inside, and the summer heat beat down on them unrelentingly. Laureline stopped getting dressed in the morning and instead dragged her easel into the desert so she could stand in her shift and make painting after painting of the great rock. And her sunburn blistered and healed and blistered again. Despite Thomas's anger, his protests, and confusion, he too finally couldn't help but hear the song of the rocks. The song of his family now, the song of their home. His fury turned to acceptance as he joined his family in their rights. Food became irrelevant. Sleep too. The oil business, money, all of it irrelevant. Thomas's employees came to check on him after several long absences. The house was empty and filthy and looked as if it had stood for 100 years instead of 5. The girls and Thomas were nowhere to be found, though new graves had been dug and filled in the yard. And there too rested Laureline Sharps, sunburned, unwashed, with hair like straw and blistered skin, singing in the graveyard, a song that no human could truly understand. Now, the house still stands. You can go see it for yourself. You can wander around both the yards and the house. It's unlocked. People say you shouldn't stay long, and you shouldn't look too hard at the huge rock behind the house. If you hear singing, don't pay any attention to it. You can post to Instagram, you can take pictures, you can wander. You can do whatever you want to do. Just don't look at the rocks. Don't pay attention to the song. And whatever you do, don't start singing along.